Cool. So, how many of you have ever lived out of Massachusetts? Just raise your hands. Lots of you. Have any of you ever moved or lived out west? So towards Texas, both of you. Cool. So you can relate to this. I'm going to talk about living in West Texas. So that would be kind of middle of the desert. The way I kind of want to start this is telling you guys about my experience living out there. So I lived in Lubbock, Texas. That's a city next, kind of near Houston, but a little further out, a little more in the desert, basically. So you could leave the edges of the city and essentially walk about a mile and you're in the desert. It's really cool. I used to live in a poor-ish neighborhood, so I didn't really have a lot. So I got to play outside, and I lived on the edges, so I could go out and just hang out in the desert. It was really nice. And I kind of just want to go over just a couple reasons why you should visit, if not move there, because I've been thinking about it a lot recently with all the snow we've had, and it never snows up there, so that's awesome. That's kind of the first point I want to go over is the weather. The weather is great, except for in the summer. In the summer, it gets so hot you can't actually leave your house, or it's almost immediate sunburn, and you have to carry almost a gallon of water in your car all the time. But other than that, other than those couple months in the middle of the summer, the kind of winter and the outside months are great. It's 60 almost every day, which is awesome. You get to walk around, you never need a coat. Ever. You maybe have a sweatshirt when it's cold out, but you never really need a coat. And that kind of just leads into the second reason, which is the people are just friendlier there. Now, I'm sure all of you are great people. I'm not dissing you guys if you guys live in Massachusetts, but it's just like clerks at stores and just especially on the road when you're driving, people are just friendlier. They're more gracious. They'll give you the right of the way a lot of time. They'll ask you how you're doing and actually mean it. At the end of, if you're shopping or whatever, people at this counter are like, and how are you doing while they're ringing up your stuff? And I think part of that is because of the weather is much nicer. Things seem to be a lot slower there too. So you kind of have more time to ask, how are you today? Like, how are you today, Robert? Great. Good? And awesome. So there's a lot of that. And I guess the third point kind of relates to the driving, people being friendlier while they're driving, because it's so easy to get around. You know how we have all these hills and curves and things in Massachusetts, right? In West Texas, there is none of that. It's all very straight roads. It's laid out like a grid. You look at a map and it's literally just like a piece of grid paper with some names on it, right? And that's all the roads you'll have to learn. It's 10 minutes to get anywhere, unless you're going out outside the city, and then it's more like 20 minutes. But still, like, I personally commute 30 minutes almost every day to get to work and to get here, because I live off in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by trees. But they're like, it's just like, oh, I want to go visit my friends today. Hop in the car, 10 minutes down the road, you're there. And it's great. I used to think 30 minutes was a long time to drive. Not anymore. But that kind of openness and the ability to go anywhere is, I guess, the biggest reason why I loved living in Texas. It's because everyone, it just creates, even if you're in this big city, it just creates this community. Everyone knows each other. Everyone in my town knew each other. So you would walk down the street, you would wave at somebody and actually know them instead of just like a courtesy wave, right? Because it's so open and so friendly, and everybody's taking their time. You don't, as you're sitting at the gas station, you have like 3 conversations with 3 people you've never met before. You don't know them. They just come up to you, they're like, how are you doing? And then you get to talking about just everything. So that's I think the biggest thing I loved about living in Texas was just the atmosphere of just family. You're a family with everyone in your town. You're a family with everyone in your city. And no one was trying to get ahead of each other. Right? So that about wraps up my time. I hope you all visit Texas at some point, because it's great.
All right.